Otorhinolaryngology is not a newer branch of medicine. It was an older branch because hearing, smell, and speech are special senses. So, human beings always gave due respect for these special senses. So, if any pathology arises in these special senses, it garnered interest of the anatomists and physicians over those periods. So over 7 or 8 centuries, it was popular field of medicine, and lot of advances are being made in this field. So first anatomy of ENT, then surgery has been formulated. Of late, only after introduction of antibiotics, medical treatment of ENT gained interest. But everything was being done on assumption basis. Then after introduction of X-ray and CT scan, some things have been viewed betterly and treatment has been done betterly. But why hearing has been impaired? How it can be diagnosed? At what level hearing is impaired is always a $1,000,000 question for any ENT specialist. So of late, in the 20th century, greater advances are being made in the field of neuro-otology. So exploring the unexplored inside of the ear is called neuro-otology. So neuro-otology is a diagnostic as well as some therapeutic interests are there. So lot of questions are being asked, lot of concepts are to be understood in neuro-otology. So we are going to explore the unexplored in neuro-otology. So let's enter into tuning fork test. So tuning fork test, 3 main tuning forks are Rinne, Weber and Ayer absolute bone conduction test. Fine. So in Rinne, air conduction and bone conduction has been evaluated. In Weber, bone conduction alone. In absolute bone conduction test, bone conduction alone. In Weber, so first air conduction is done using a tuning fork, then bone conduction is done using a tuning fork. Both are compared. If air conduction better than bone conduction, it means normal or sensory neural hearing loss. If it is bone conduction better than air conduction, it is conductive hearing loss. Then entering into Weber, it is placed over the glabella. So if it is placed over the glabella, the lateralization is questioned to the patient. So if it is lateralized to the better ear, if it is lateralized to the affected ear, what are the inferences? If it is lateralized to the affected ear, it means conductive hearing loss. If it is lateralized to the better ear, means that is sensory neural hearing loss. If it is okay, in airborne conduction, absolute bone conduction, it is compared with that of the examiner ear. Okay, is compared to that of the examiner ear. So okay, these are the theories pertaining to the tuning fork test. But how the tuning fork test has been discovered? It was way back in 1700s, that is 18th century. Tuning fork was actually discovered for musical instrument purpose. So while listening to the tuning fork prongs, the human beings heard better sounds. They observed they could hear the vibration also clearly. That paved way for the usage of tuning fork in the audiological purposes. Yes, so a tuning fork has a base, a stem and prongs. 256 and 512. So 512 tuning fork is the ideal tuning fork because the vibrations producing the frequency are of normal speech frequency, that is 500 to 2000 Hertz. This is the main reason a 512 Hertz frequency tuning fork is being used. So the first one found out that in few patients bone conduction is better than air conduction. That paved way for the discovery of tuning fork being used as the diagnostic element in audiology. So okay, other tuning fork test, Jelly's test. So Jelly's test is only bone conduction is again examined. Here normally same like Rennes test, but after vibrating the tuning fork along the mastoid area, the pressure is increased using a Siegel's speculum like this. So if the pressure is increased using a Siegel's speculum, it will cause retraction of the tympanic membrane. That will cause reduced perception of sound. Okay, whereas in otosclerosis there will be stiff stapes, so the sound will not be decreased in Jelly's test. Binch's test is similar, but Siegel's speculum is not used, rather tragus is pressed inwards. So this is how a Binch's test works.